My name is Mahesh Balasubramanian, and my title is Product Engineer, and I work at Micron supporting product development. I am originally from India. I'm from the southern part, from a city called Chennai. It's on the east coast of India towards Sri Lanka. Growing up, it was fun for the most part. If I survived till I'm 30, it means like I probably did pretty good in my childhood. My dad worked in the government, so he moved a lot, got to learn a lot of different languages, different weather, different food habits, different culture. Got to learn all of those. Uh, with a huge population, you don't have to go in search of friends. You find a lot of friends as you move around. You have to live within a social environment where there are rights and wrongs which you might not agree to, but you have to. Living in India, it's that culturally, children live with their parents until they start earning. It's a patriarchal society, so you still live with your father, and your father is the head of the house. My mother was a homemaker, so when we came back from school or work, she'd be ready with cooked food. Really, I mean, cooked food. So never had to cook food over there. Never had to do any house chores because while living in a developing country, the advantage is cheap labor. So we had maid service, which was relatively affordable for us. So she would come and do most of the chores. I chose to become an engineer, and my dad wanted me to be an engineer. So my choice was to be an automobile engineer. I didn't get into it because the opportunity when I was going to school was very minimal to be an automobile engineer and to make a good living there. So instead, I became an electrical engineer. Thought came up, okay, I can do a master's, but education in India for masters wasn't really good. While I was looking at ideas of coming to US to pursue higher education, there was a very well-known professor at Boise State at that time called Jacob Baker. He had a lot of patents. He had worked on cutting-edge electronics. He was like, well, come over here, study under me for 6 months, and if I think you are worthy enough, I will have you under my stewardship, and then we'll pay for your tuition, give you a scholarship. And that really made my mind that, okay, I have an opportunity to work with this professor. Education is not too expensive here, and having Micron around Boise State was also a big positive for me to come over to Boise. Coming to the US for the first time, I had to cook, eat whatever I cooked, do my own chores, wash my own utensils, my own clothes, do my own laundry. Over here, it's not as strict as how it is in India, so getting that freedom was huge. You were not being controlled by how the society perceives you to be. You could be what you want to be, and that really made a big change to the way I look at myself and the way I try to live now. The opportunities over here were much greater than going back to India. That's when I started thinking, well, I might have a future over here. At the same time, there was a conflict that I had family over there, which would be more dependent on me, that I had to go back and take care of them. That's the culture over there. That once your parents get old, you take care of them. You don't send them to a home, and you do anything and everything you can. There was a conflict there, but then I met my wife over here. I had a close friend who I used to hang out with a lot. His name was Matt. He was dating Amanda's sister. Amanda used to come and join us as well. And we met each other, we started dating, and then eventually decided that our personalities matched to an extent that we would like to live with each other. I graduated with an electrical engineering degree from Boise State, and my major was in circuit design. Micron being the leading memory provider in the US was a very good career path for me to choose if I got an opportunity. And that's where I ended up being. That made a huge change. I'm like, you know what? My future does lay in the US. Being an Indian, again, culturally, my parents were trying to force me that, hey, you have a job. They were like, you're turning 27, you need to get married now. Let us know if you want us to find you girls. They would not force me to marry the girl, but they would arrange a date for me, and then I can get to choose. But since I was already dating Amanda, we talked about it, and then we decided, well, you know what? We should get married. But that did not sound really romantic. I took her on a trip to Oregon, and then on one of the beaches near Newport. That's where I proposed to her one evening, and we were pretty sure we'd be happy. So my parents had already decided to come to the U.S. They already had tickets booked. Everything was ready for them to come, and I was pretty sure that they actually were going to come and try to convince me to get married to an Indian girl. About 15 days before is when I actually told them I am dating this girl in America. Her name is Amanda, and then I really like her. I would like to get married to her. This is my choice. It's my life, and I have to decide who I love and who I want to live and spend the rest of my life with. And though they tried to convince me really hard not to get married to an American because of, again, the same society aspect of it, because society would not be accepting of an Indian getting married to an American. And my parents were more afraid of the society that they were living in, that they would ostracize them. But I was not living in a society like that. I was living in a much more open society where I was not being judged by who I was or who I'm going to get married to. Two human beings get in love and we are getting married. It doesn't make a difference. We got married 3 times. We decided to register here in the US. So we got married here first, registered, went to India, had the ceremony there in Indian way in March. And then once we came back, we had to have an official ceremony in the US as well, so we had one in June. Personal life is much better than I could ever imagine. I could not ask for more. I am married to a lovely wife, have a great home, have 3 dogs, have lovely friends over here, and it's perfect. I can't ask anything more of life.